What's up, people? I'm Xogue here with another spotlight for you. But before we get into the spotlight stuff, I do want to say really quickly that if you liked the video, please do hit the like button. If you want to see more about what I do, including all of the Minecraft series that I have going on and some of the other game stuff too, please do subscribe. Also, down at the bottom, I do have a Twitter, a Patreon, and a Discord. Please do click those links because it'd be amazing if you did. Now, this spotlight is about a mod called Player Storage from MrRiegel. It's one I'm surprised I've never seen before. Now, this mod is one that basically takes all of the things you love about mass storage from multiple other mods, think applied energistics or refined storage, and it throws it into your normal inventory screen. This thing is awesome. Now, by default, you only get 2,000 pieces, which means you would not be able to store all of this stuff in here. Only 2,000 things, not 2,000 stacks, 2,000 items, which means you would only have a couple of rows of full stacks of items. But this is expandable. As you can see, I'm storing a huge amount more items than that in here. Maybe not huge. And that's through the use of apples. Now, in here, obviously you have the normal Minecraft apples. We're not going to worry about those. We're going to worry about the expanding apples. First, you have the expanding apple, the block of iron version. You have the block of gold version, and you have the block of diamond version. Then you have the nether star version. Okay, obviously each of these has their own crafting recipe. If we take a look, you have a blocks of iron and a regular apple for the iron one. And likewise, you also have very similar recipes for the gold, the diamond, and this guy right here, which is nether stars. Same concept, and each of them adds an increasing amount of storage to your network. First one by default is 3,200. You see the slash down there in the tooltip. This is not 3,200 out of 32,000 or anything like that. This is 3,200 item storage. And because this mod is so amazing, it also has a fluid mode. So that second number is how much fluid. And in this case, it's actually 32 buckets, 32,000 millibuckets of stuff. So you have an extra 32 buckets or 3,200 items for the first apple. And likewise, 25,600 items or 256 buckets. And this goes up and up to the lots and lots of items. If you get this guy, you're pretty much set. You get this guy, you're pretty much set for a while, at least. So it's really, really kind of crazy in that regard. I do want to say that these numbers are completely configurable. In the config file that I'm going to show a screenshot right now for, you can see there are some yellow numbers right at the top. And if you can kind of sort of read a little bit, you see that the four lines there, most of the orange that's there, the four lines you see block iron, block gold, block diamond, and nether star. Those are the types of apples that I just showed you. And in there you can see item limit 3,200, fluid limit 32,000. That is where you change your numbers. Those numbers right there, you change those for each individual apple as far as how many items and how much fluid you want them to increase your storage by. So if you want to make it more fair for your mod pack, you can do that. Also, just a side note, this is not included in the mod, but I have used Craft Tweaker in my mod pack to actually make the apples harder to make it even more fair. So that is another option if any of you are worried that these things might be too easy to make. That is something you can do in order to balance it for your mod pack. So just thought I'd throw that in there real quick. There's a neat little feature that MrRiegel has added into the game. And if you're a coder out there, you're going to understand what I mean by dynamic updates. If you're not, basically all that means is that MrRiegel has added in a way for you to add your own content without him needing to know the specifics of what you're adding. Basically, in this instance, it's an apple. You can add your own apples, and he doesn't have to know too much about it. You add it into the config file, which I'm going to show you now. Basically, the information between the two purple lines is what I added to the config file in order to add my own apple. Now, this apple, you can kind of see the values there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's what you do. Now, you can add an apple for any oreDictionary, any item with an oreDictionary name. And what that means is basically that this is a list, a way for all of the mods to add different versions of the same item, but still have those items used the same way in recipes and other cases like being smelted or whatnot. So if it has an oreDictionary name, you're good, such as, you know, silver or copper or iron. But even those other things too, like glowstone or carrots or stone or sandstone, it doesn't really matter what that item is as long as it has one. You can use the item to create your own apple. And another cool little feature for this is that the apple will actually take the color. All of these textures are the same except for the color. These apples will take the color of whatever item you choose. In this case, it's a block of redstone, so it's red. And it makes perfect sense. You also have this thing here. For whatever reason, you can't eat these in creative mode. Not entirely sure why, but you can do it there. But there's your apple eating, and there's the particle effect. There you go, boom. So it's a really cool thing there. That it's just cool. I love when modders do that kind of thing. Allow you to add your own content, and it makes you feel more creative, more. I don't know, it gives you more customizability. There's a word that sounds a lot better than the one I just said. Anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much, but it's a really cool concept. And for those of you who don't know what to use for oreDictionary, there is actually a list of vanilla and Forge, actually, modded. Yeah, we're in modded. Of vanilla and Forge oreDictionary names for a huge list of items. And I'm going to have a link to that page in the description. So if you're looking to make an apple out of any particular type material, you should be able to check it out down in the bottom. And as long as it has one of those names on that list, you should be able to use it and things should work out just fine. And now we're going to go over something that I think is important to go over because there's a lot of options open to you. And if I don't go over them, you might not know what they are. So we're going to start at the top and work our way down. First of all is the grid height. You can actually change this. For those of you who think what I have there is too big, you can actually shrink it all the way down as far as you possibly can in order to get just one line at a time. It won't let you scroll past the line, the last line that you have items on, so you don't have to worry about it. Like I'm trying to scroll down now and it just won't work. So there you go. You can also make it unbelievably huge like me. If you guys want to call me a weirdo, you can call me a weirdo, but I like it big so I can see as many of my items as I possibly can at a time. You also have the sorting options like you would see in a lot of the other mass storage mods, you know, like AE2 or refined storage. Sort by amount, sort by name, sort by mod. So you have those options open to you, and you can also switch the direction of those. Then you have this one right here, which is a very important thing because I know a lot of you are indeed saying, you know what, I would rather this not show unless I'm ready for it to show. You can turn this off. And if the red text is red, it means it's off. And that means you can press E or whatever your inventory key is in the event that you changed it to something. You can change it, or you can use it and you can open your regular inventory. And the only time it's going to open is if you go into your controls, and this is an option you can change. You can open your GUI. In this case, it's I. Invert auto pickup is another thing we're going to get to in a minute, but right here, I is the alternative to opening this inventory if you don't like the default. Personally, I love it as the default, so there you go. You also have the synchronized search with JEI. As you can see, it's typing in both places, and we're finding what we're finding. So, which is, you know, because it's I can't pronounce that. I don't think any of you can either. But since that's what we typed in, it's not finding anything. But you get the idea. Then you have this little tick box right down here. One of my favorite features. If this is green, what's going to happen is that when you enter this inventory, whether it be with I or E, the cursor is already going to be down here. So the next letters you type are going to go into that to search for whatever items. And I know a lot of you are going to like that feature. Personally, I do not. A lot of times I'll come into my inventory just to look for an item to see if I have it, and I'll press E again to escape. If this is on, then pressing E will not exit out of here. I'll have to push escape. And I don't like reaching up to escape when I can just push E. To me, that's better. But hey, To each their own, and I know some of you are going to prefer that to be on. But it is what it is. Also, you have the toggle mode down here. You can see what fluids you have, and you can see what items you have. You just flip back and forth as much as you want. Take a gander. You kind of understand how that works. Now, you have the More Options button. In here, there's a lot of information in here, okay? First of all, you have how many items out of how many items you have. You also have how much fluid out of how much fluid you have. This is min and max, or what you have versus what you can have. Neat little tip, hold shift. You can actually see the exact amounts of the items you have and the exact, cap of items you have. So you can see that I can store, what is that, 2 million? 2,026,690 items? Is that what that is? I think that's what that number is. It's a big number. And down here you can see it's a very similar number. Well, maybe not very similar. It's a pretty close number. Anyway. You get the idea. And then once you're filling these items up, you can see this sliver of a yellow bar. This yellow bar is the representation of the 54,446 items that we have in our inventory right now. The rest of it is how much room we have left before we get to the top. So there's your visual indication of how full your personal storage is. And the same with the liquids. This is your items. These are your liquids. It's a very, very handy little tool. Then you have your interfaces. These guys, something we're going to get to a little later as far as the interface is concerned, but these are your real world interaction. This is the block you use to interact with the inventory, with your storage remotely. It's that kind of an option. And it's just, you can see which ones of those are actually placed in the world, where they are, X, Y, and Z coordinates, dimensions, the whole 9 yards. So if you ever need to find one of those and you somehow lost where you put it, you can look around in there and actually find all of them that you placed. It's kind of a neat little feature. Then you have these selections right here. Auto pickup is easy enough to understand. If we take a few of these out, basically, without auto pickup, we're just going to pick them up directly in our inventory. You see a hotbar? Boom. Done deal. So if we go into here and say, hey, game, pick up all of the apples for me. What does that mean? That means when they're tossed on the ground, or, you're running over regular items after you kill a creeper and you want the gunpowder, they're going directly into your personal inventory or your personal storage and not your regular inventory. Just a neat little feature there as well. Infinite water is a cool little thing that I really like. If you understand what this means, basically. You have this ticked where you get infinite water. If you don't get infinite water. But where that is basically in the water storage. So if I start clicking buckets out of here, you'll see that it reproduces water in here and goes all the way back up. The maximum, I believe, is 10 buckets. There you go, that little B at the end, 10B. And then you have 332B, lava. I needed that much lava just so this bar would be this full. Just kind of a thing. Anyway, so you can kind of see right there, we have infinite water in this thing. You can go ahead and do your little control shift click to empty it all back in, and you can, of course, store more than that amount. It's just the infinite water selection will only give you up to 10, and that way you're not filling up the entirety of your fluid storage with water. So it's safe to turn that on, even if your fluid storage is not full. You're not going to waste any space. You're going to be just fine with that. So there you go. Then you also have the control versus shift thing. Some of you will like the idea that shift would put your items, let's go ahead and turn this off so you can understand a little bit better, that shift will take items out and put them into your personal storage up here. So shift is the key to bring them out and put them back. Some of you will like that. Personally, I don't. So I select this little box right here to switch it. And what that means is that when I push shift, it'll change the shift key to be back to default, which is, going between regular inventory and hotbar. That's my preference. And whenever I want to put something in the inventory, I click control. And it goes right in. It's just like that. And that way, I can go ahead and, shift click my items in a particular order to get them exactly where I want them on the hotbar. And we're good to go. I also use the number keys. I don't know. Yeah, it's a thing. I use both. But you get the idea. There's some neat little features for you. Hopefully they're good for you. Because I don't know. I love these things. And because I kind of forgot about it, there's a lot of features to this mod, so don't yell at me too harshly, but there was one feature I told you guys about that we were going to get to, and I totally forgot about it. The invert auto pickup. What this means guys and gals, is that this guy can be switched temporarily. Now, my preference is to auto pick up everything, but there are inevitably times where you don't want everything or whatever it is you're picking up to go directly into the storage. So what you can do instead is use that pickup key. What did it say in the controls? I forget. Was it left control? Let's find out. Boom. Yep, there it is, right there. And it even tells you down on the screen, auto pickup is inverted, which is really, this guy, let me tell you, this guy is amazing at making mods. He's quick, he's fast at developing the mod, he's really good with responding to bugs and stuff. He fixes things unbelievably quickly. It's all around really, really cool, guys. So there you go. Moving on. Now, we all know what happens when you go mining. Your inventory is generally cluttered with a whole bunch of stuff. Now, number one, this becomes a lot easier to store if you have enough storage for everything. But say you don't. Say you only have the default of 2,000 blocks and you still want to use it for mining. You still want to be able to collect all of the ores that you possibly can, as many as you possibly can. But let's just say that you wanted to limit things. You would only want, I don't want any more, I don't need cobblestone. I don't use cobblestone for anything. So I don't want any more than 300 cobblestone. 300. That's all I want. I don't want any more cobblestone. You can actually set that here. If you middle click on any particular item, you can limit how many of that item will get stored. And not only that, we'll say 300, you can choose to void any extras. So the inventory will still pick up those items, but any more than that number will just get instantly destroyed. And you can apply that. So now you see we're at 256. If we, oh right, I just shift clicked to try to put it up here, but our setting, of course, changes those. So control click, it's a relatively new feature, so I actually got used to shift. It's just going to take a minute to switch back. Anyway, so if we control click in here, you see that it went up to 300, and now all of the other ones that we have in here are now going to instead just be voided out. And we can now control shift click to get rid of all of our cobblestone. And auto pickup will still delete the extras. It'll still pick it up. It'll still go directly into the storage, but they'll just be voided out immediately. This is a very fantastic feature, and you can do it with any block. For some reason, if you wanted to limit how many chests you have, you can do it. Now, the next thing that I wanted to show you is a little bit of a worry that I had when I started using this mod in my mod pack, okay? I was worried, what happens when you die? Right? This stuff is supposed to be stored on you, so what happens? Do you drop everything? Is there some kind of special grave? Is there some kind of something that happens when you die? Do the items splatter out all over the place? No. As a matter of fact, they all stay put. So, say you were in the end. This is actually a very popular thing for those of you who don't know about it. If you're in the end, you're out doing some end city raiding, getting a whole bunch of shulker boxes. People tend to put all of their items into, you know, like an ender chest. You know, a bunch of shulker boxes inside the ender chest, and that way all of your stuff is in an ender chest. And of course, you have another one back at your base. Well, typically people do. That you can access. So they'll put everything into an ender chest, and then they'll jump off the cliff into the void and let themselves die. And then they'll be teleported right back to their spawn point, which is, in a lot of cases, either the overworld right near the end portal, or it's all the way back at home. And then they just go in their ender chest and collect everything. It's the fastest way back. So now you can do it here. You don't even need an ender chest. You just kind of jump off the cliff after everything's in here, and you're good to go. Another nice little feature, it does have a trash can. So if you wanted to manually delete something, you could. Just, that's a side note. Now, I told you I was going to mention these shortcuts you can use in order to transfer items easily into the storage. Now, number one, of course, is control and space. You hold these two keys together and click on an item, and everything from in here that equals the item you clicked on will be transferred in, except for the items in your hotbar. Okay, the items in your hotbar are excluded from that one, control and space. They're excluded from control and space. But if you wanted all of them, including the hotbar, to be included, instead of control space, you hit control shift, and then you click. And then all of that type of item, hotbar and inventory included, will be transferred into the system. Just some nice little things. Also, there is, of course, if you wanted to do some kind of a crafting thing, say, let's make some stairs. Okay, come on. Stairs. Okay, we can do recipe transfer. And boom. Now, it just snaps right in here. I didn't even mention the crafting table that's built into this thing. I'm sure you guys saw it already, but it's there, and it works. It's fine. Now we have some blocks we can mess with. Let's go ahead and do some more. I like stairs. Who doesn't like stairs? Stairs are magnificent. Now, the next feature is something that's meant for, well, multiplayer. So now we see that we have my second account here, Xogue. What's up, Xogue? Hey, regular Xogue. We sound the same. Yeah, we do sound the same. Anyway, moving on. So what you can do with this thing is actually pretty cool. If you go to more options and you go to team, you can say invite player. So now I have invited. There you go. You see down at the bottom of this screen real quick. Now I'm on Xogue. That's pretty crazy. Xogue invites you to join their player storage team. So we're going to click accept here. I wonder, before we do this, let's go ahead and take a look into the options to see. I guess we can actually do an invite. I'm assuming that this will actually accept it. Okay, so you might have to click the accept button. So let's go ahead back over to this screen here. And instead of doing the invite, we're going to click the accept button. Boom. And now we have accepted. Okay, so now if we go into team, we're now part of Xogue's team. And as you can see here, we can now access Xogue's information, Xogue's stuff here. Okay? This guy didn't have the buckets or 64 of anything. As soon as you are a member of a team, you have a shared storage. There is no accessing the other person's storage. You have instant access as if it was your own. So it's just a team inventory rather than a single player inventory, accessing another. It's all joined in together. It's a collective inventory, which is actually really, really cool. It's just one of those things that you toss into a mod, and it's not for everybody because not everybody's going to have a friend to join their inventory with, but it's there. And this guy had the forethought to add it in. And just an extra little note, you can only access that player's inventory when they are online. I just logged Xogue out, and now you see we only have 64 blocks of emeralds here because that's all we had on us. Xogue had the other 700 and some. Now you might be wondering, but Xogue, there's still one more thing that this mod could have that the other guys do. How can you possibly do automation with this mod? But you do. You can. You totally can with the interface block. This guy right here, if we take a look, that's not how you spell interface, Xogue. Oh, because I have the @ sign. Ha ha ha. Let's do player storage. So, we go here, we have the player storage interface. This guy can interface not only with items, but also with liquids. This is your real world interaction with this storage right here. So, number one, you can do hoppers for both of these. And these items can indeed go into your network, just like you see here, where it is. There it is. So, player storage interfaces are going in, and random other blocks are coming out. The issue with regular hoppers is that you cannot filter these things. Now, putting into it may not be the biggest deal because you're pretty much just going to dump everything into here anyway, and it's all just going to go right into your storage. But for extraction, a lot of times, most times, almost every time, you're going to want a way to filter it. And this is where other mods come in, such as extra utilities. Now, this guy right here doesn't... It's a bit odd. This one right here, it doesn't look like it's connected, but rest assured it is actually connected. It is actually working. If we throw some things in here, you will see that they do indeed disappear. There we go. And they are actually being added into your network. It doesn't look like it's connected, but it is, and I'm sure that will be patched very, very soon anyway. And also, we can go here with filters, say blocks of emerald. We can take these guys out, put them directly into our storage, and they're now going to be filtered out. And only the blocks of emerald will be filtered out. So it works out really, really well. It works with hoppers. It works with other things that have filters on them. It even works with liquids right here. Look, this guy right here is not connected yet. But if I were to do, say, a transfer node for fluids, and obviously this is an extra utilities thing. It just doesn't look like it, but it does actually have lava inside. So if we go down here and do a little like that, and we take a look at our liquids, don't you have liquids in you? There it goes. There was a little bit. It's doing it. There, it's just really slow, apparently. And as you can see here, this guy, you just saw him tick down and back up again. There it goes. And that's because he is exporting liquid, aka water, into this guy. And again, there is indeed a filter on this. And in case you're curious, the easiest way to filter liquids is just to put a bucket of it in there. Just a side note about extra utilities. It's a fantastic mod, but some people don't realize that. But anyway, so this is basically an amazing thing. So this mod creator has thought of everything. MrRiegel has thought of everything that I can think of, at least. I have nothing else to put into the mod. Like, I don't, what else could he possibly add? But if you do think of anything, there is a link in the description for issues or suggestions or whatever it is you want to see in the mod. He is an awesome dude for adding things that, obviously if he agrees with you. If it's a stupid request, he's not going to do it. But you get the idea. If you have something you want to report to him, there is a link in the description to the Curse Forward page where there is also a link to the issues. You can find information. You can find all sorts of information there on that page. It's just a fantastic resource. Go check out that link down below. Check out my other links there as well. Twitter, Patreon, Discord, all of the other good stuff. But if you did like the video, please do hit that like button and subscribe to see more. I think I said that at the beginning, but it is what it is. Do what you do. And I'll see you next time. Peace out, peeps.